OpenAI has just announced SearchGPT, a new tool that essentially is going to take on Google search using their ChatGPT AI model. Now, it's got a bunch of really interesting features and new takes, and some that people are claiming they've copied from competitors. I'm going to be breaking down all of this and talking about how I think they're going to compare to Google and what maybe the impact on Google will be with all of this. And the timing of this is also very interesting, which we'll go into. Before we get into all of that, I wanted to say that today's episode is sponsored by my very own startup, AI Box, which is a no-code AI app builder and marketplace. If you're not on the waitlist already, I would love for you to join. The link is in the show notes at aibox.ai, where you're essentially able to go and automate your workflows using AI tools. You're able to create different AI applications. You can link together different AI models, upload your prompts, and host them onto our marketplace, where you get a royalty anytime someone uses your GPT that you've created, and you're able to actually monetize that. So if you're not on the waitlist already, link is in the description. I would love for you to join. We're getting excited to launch this very shortly, and you can go check it out there. So SearchGPT, what is going on? The first thing that I wanted to say that's really interesting is who actually has access to this. So they kind of, it's kind of frustrating because at the beginning, ChatGPT would just roll out these big updates and everyone would get them, and it was like crazy. And then as things went on, they started being slower and slower. And I get why this is happening. I saw someone posting recently on Twitter where they were like, working at, OpenAI is super annoying. Everyone has access to OpenAI voice. It's amazing. I can hear them using it in the building all the time, but I'm not on the team that's testing it, so I can't use it. Well, everyone else has a good old time. I'm just sitting here listening to it, wishing that I had it, and they haven't rolled it out because you got to do safety testing. And so on the one hand, you get that criticism, but then on the other hand, you understand why OpenAI is doing it. There was recently a report from the EU where they're threatening OpenAI. They said that their most recent release of GPT-4o Mini was rushed. They were trying to hit a deadline. They didn't do adequate safety testing, and so they want to give them a bunch of fines for it. So this is just kind of classic Europe and European regulation, in my opinion. I know. Probably a lot of people might be triggered or upset by that. This is just what I'm seeing. I've been here in France for a week, and I'm going to be here for the next couple months around the Olympics, and getting out of Arizona where it's so freaking hot that you feel like you're in an oven. France feels amazing. So I love all that about France and Europe. What I don't love about France and Europe is the regulation. I know everyone's got different opinions on this. I think they way over-regulate here. So that's just my opinion, and there you have it, whether you liked it or not. That being said, they're threatening OpenAI and ChatGPT over this kind of launch, and this really, in my opinion, is going to have a chilling effect on, regardless of whatever happens, if they get some sort of penalty or not for that. It's going to make OpenAI really slow down on their releases. Now, some people say that's good. Some people say it's bad. There's people on both sides of that argument. I understand. For me, I just think that's bad. I want things to come out faster. So I'm not really worried about the safety. I think give it to adults, give them a disclaimer, and they can use it if they want to use it or not if they don't want to. In any case, this all is very interesting to me for SearchGPT because they're now following kind of a new, they have all this new language, and with this rollout of SearchGPT, they made the announcement and they said it's going to be open to a select few amount of people temporarily. So it's like they're not even committing to this being a full product. They're just like, we're going to temporarily test out this thing. If it's popular, we'll leave it. If not, we'll kill it. That's kind of how it feels. And they say, we're using the information we collect on how people use this to embed it into ChatGPT to give it a better search experience. So I'm not really sure if Google at this very moment needs to be super concerned about this. Not because it won't be great, but I just don't know what the adoption level is going to be and if OpenAI is even going to continue to support this for a very long time. They seem sort of unsure about it. And I get that just based off of, the response that OpenAI got when they rolled out their plugin store, I believe last year. It didn't have a great response. Sam Altman said that he never felt like he got product market fit. And so people kind of moved past it. And so I think that they're just worried. They don't want to make too many products like that and keep supporting them. So they're just kind of doing this tentative launch that's a temporary thing, and they'll go from there. And they only have a few people that have actually been able to get that. Very limited number of users, and they have a wait list as always. Yeah. So not everyone can use it. But what does it actually do? They showed off some demos. They've talked about it. Is this even something that you want to get on the wait list for? So as far as the functionality goes, it's essentially trying to give very quick answers to up to date like actively happening topics. So you can think of like news. They're using OpenAI's model ChatGPT, obviously, to grab all the information from the web and probably browse with Bing to scrape it. And then they give you a straight up response with a bunch of clear links to allow you to follow like where this came from, where the information came from. You can follow up on the context. Now, in the demo that I saw, it was kind of interesting. It looked a lot more like a Google search result than ChatGPT, where they actually had images embedded in it. They had links. They had like chunks of text and responses. So it feels very much like a search engine. And in my opinion, this is kind of them doing a direct, they're becoming a direct competitor to Perplexity, who's doing this exact same thing. Jeff Bezos invested in Perplexity. They had over $1 billion valuation and really have taken off. And it feels like it's one of the biggest consumer use cases for AI is kind of this like Perplexity. And so it feels like OpenAI is like, oh, look, big consumer use case. We're jumping on it, which I don't love the thought of that, but I get why they're doing it. It's whatever. I think it's interesting. More competitors, the better. But I think there are a lot of people that are concerned when they see like OpenAI doing use cases instead of, I don't know, just underlying technology, because they're like, hey, focus on your technology. We're going to build the use cases. We don't want you to eat the whole pie. So anyway, that's what people are complaining about in the developer field. Now, what I think is interesting that I do think they did right is how they're handling publisher collaborations. So they're working really closely with a bunch of different publishers to make sure that they are getting properly cited in this content. You could think of the lawsuits that the New York Times has done and a bunch of other news publishers that probably have inspired this, right? They don't want a repeat. But essentially, they have a system for publishers that they can actually manage how they're showing up in the SearchGPT results. This is something that Google's not doing with their AI model, so that's actually very interesting. And if you want to opt in or opt out of it, you can do that. So Google's faced a lot of criticism for not properly crediting some of the content sources, and it seems like OpenAI is trying to learn from that mistake and do that. Now, as far as the integration plans go, they're going to gather a bunch of initial feedback from some of their users and their publishers, and they're going to use that to refine SearchGPT. They plan on integrating some of the best features of it directly into ChatGPT in the future, and they haven't said exactly what that is. And I honestly think it's kind of like a testing phase. They're saying it's temporary. They're testing. They're seeing what people like, and they're going to pull that in. It's kind of cool, right? You launch a whole product, or to essentially just see how people use it and if they like what you're building. So, anyways, I think this is pretty cool. Now, as far as the timing goes with this, some people are saying that this is really strategic timing, because Google is, about to have their Google I/O conference very soon, and they obviously are going to announce a bunch of new AI products and features. And so people are saying they're kind of like trying to front run that. And it seems like they did that a little bit with the last Google I/O conference when they launched GPT 4.0. And so, yeah, it seems very interesting that this is, kind of the timing. They seem to pop things out pretty quick. So, as far as being a competitor with Google, I think by creating this, especially by calling it SearchGPT and not just like enhanced ChatGPT or something, if they're calling it SearchGPT, they're directly trying to become a search engine and compete head on with Google, in my opinion. And I think that this is interesting. It's going to be a very AI native search interface, summarizing and citing web content. So I think they could do a lot of very creative things. I also think that they could build a really powerful tool where it's like you click over to a site and there's maybe a sidebar that's summarizing the site. And like they could do some very interesting things if they really want to go hard on the search engine space. So I'll be really excited, and we'll definitely keep you updated on everything happening there. They say that this is a new way to search, which we'll have to see just how new it is, or if it's kind of just new compared to Google, but a clone of Perplexity. It's left to be said where this actually falls. But overall, kudos for innovating, making something new. I'm excited to get my hands on. I'll keep you updated on, how this is rolled out. If you haven't already, please, 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 it would mean the world to me if you could leave me a review on the podcast. Drop some stars on Apple. It's the About tab on Spotify. You can click it, scroll down, drop some stars. It really means the world to me. I know it's like so annoying to have to go and drop a review. I think this all the time with podcasts I listen to. I do it, and I do it for ones that I especially love. So if you especially love this podcast, and I hope that you do because I put a bunch of work into it, then please leave a review. It would mean the world to me, but I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day.